I have, over the last 3 days, been DMing her. I've sent her 3 DMs and I've liked 5 of her posts and I followed her. And she hasn't followed me back. Yesterday, last night, I was going to the gym and I seen her through the window. Spotted her. And so I say, hey, I've been DMing you. Have you been seeing that?
Bait used to be believable. This is something that I feel like you hear a lot these days, but really, I disagree. I feel like trolling used to be very obvious unless you were just a child being trolled. That's the problem. I think people just used to be younger, and they just used to fall for trolls more often, therefore thinking that bait used to be believable. I think we are living in a time where bait is more believable than ever. So much so that a lot of the times, I don't think the average person can tell. People are just getting too good at it. Masturbators, you could call them. Guys, I'm beginning to feel like a Facebook mom. I really am. In the age of the internet that we're living in, where every single thing seems to be a shitty attempt at engagement bait or rage bait, at some point you really just start to think, what if these people are being for real? Like, after so many times of saying this just has to be rage bait, this is obviously engagement farming, you start to feel like you are being too generous to the average person. But something sort of interesting that I've noticed in all of this is that I feel like I can always tell when somebody who is 10 years older than me or 10 years younger than me is rage baiting or engagement farming. I don't know if it's like a generational thing or what, but just something about the way that they frame their bait, it doesn't work on me. I can always see through it, and I guess that's just because they're not trying to trick me, so they're not really saying or doing things that they think would work on a person my age. I don't really know. I don't know what it is. It's probably just that they're not as good at it as like a 20 to 30 year old. I feel like that's the sweet spot to be a good rage baiter. But even with all that being said, I feel like 95% of the time, regardless of your age, I'm going to be able to see through your bait. It's not going to work on me. But there is something about a certain brand of video that is usually made by guys my age that occasionally, that 5% of the time, I just can't figure it out for certain. And that's why we're here today. The guy you're seeing in the background is a TikToker named Zackety. And I'm using the phrase TikToker very lightly here because this is not a guy who has like a following on TikTok, which makes this even more confusing. He does not have like a character that he plays on his TikTok. He just uploads shit all the time, it seems like. And recently he's uploaded this like series of TikToks detailing how he's basically been like romantically pursuing this girl who works at his gym, and they are some of the most uncomfortable, hard to watch TikToks I have seen in a long time. They're bad. They're so bad that I don't really think that anybody would make this up about themselves just in the hopes of like maybe getting TikTok views, but they're also so fucking bad that I don't know if a real human being would actually do any of the things that he's describing. So I need your help. Personally, I don't really think that these TikToks are rage bait. I think they're real, at least partially, but I need a second opinion. Now, it's been a while since we've looked at something truly cringy on this channel, so you might be out of practice. I know I am. So just prepare accordingly, okay? You're gonna want to. Let's begin.
Please subscribe. There's a cute girl at my gym I've been flirting with. Oh my God. Okay, well, so yesterday I came into the gym and she was like smiling all bubbly and she was like, hey, you can't come in, we're closed. And I was like, oh, okay, she's teasing me. We haven't done the teasing yet, but I have some teasing, okay.
Okay, so this is obviously the setup. This is the first TikTok of the series, and I think that this video is 100% real. I think that everything that he said happened. Now, I don't think that's necessarily the case for all the TikToks we're gonna watch today, but we'll get into that in a minute. But we all know a guy like this, or have known a guy like this, who thinks that every interaction he has with a woman is that woman flirting with him. Once he did that little hand rub move, yeah, I knew he was telling the truth.
I know how to do this, so I look around, I see like 20 people in there. I'm like, yeah, okay. Oh yeah? She's like, yeah, we're closed. You can't come in, we closed. I'm like, I take a towel because I'm gonna go to the sauna. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna go in anyway. And her face goes, and I walk away. And I'm thinking in my head, like, wow, I told that joke terribly. Really did not hit that shit.
Yeah, man, that's probably because there was really no joke to hit there. I love videos like this because it's very interesting to peek into the minds of other people. Like I said, I do believe that this video is real. I think this happened to this guy. And it's definitely something to hear a person say, hey, you can't be here, you have to leave. And to interpret that as, oh my God, she wants me.
And I'm thinking about it, and then 10 minutes go by, I'm in the middle of my set, and I notice nobody's in the gym. Nobody's in the gym, and I see people leaving still. I've seen like 10 people walk by who are leaving, and then I'm like, I'm gonna Google this shit. And I Google this shit, and I see, oh, they've been closed for 10 minutes. I walked in there, and it was closed. And she told me it's closed. I thought she was flirting with me, and actually, I don't think she's been flirting with me ever.
My brother, that is some next level deduction. Have you ever thought about a career as a detective? Seriously though, this is a good rule of thumb, really for anybody, but I find it applies most to guys in their like 20s, because a lot of the time the people you are interacting with in the service industry are going to be your peers, are going to be other people in their 20s. Never assume that a person is flirting with you while they are working. I feel like this is common sense, but for the vast majority of people, you just kind of have to be nice to everybody while you're at work. I used to work at Chick-fil-A, and if you ever saw me at my job, you would think I'd be having the most pleasurable evening on earth handing out chicken sandwiches, but that was not the case. You bet your ass I still told everybody it was my pleasure though, because I kind of had to. Fun fact, you don't actually have to say my pleasure if you work at Chick-fil-A. That's like the first thing they tell you, but everybody does it, so you kind of get like peer pressured into doing it. Not really important, not what the video is about. But yeah, don't assume people are flirting with you because they are being personable while they're on the clock. They most likely will get fired if they aren't.
Oh! Oh! Anyway, I'm going in today, and I'm going to apologize. But now I know that there's nothing between us, so, you know, it's like, I just have to apologize to the nice, pretty girl at the front desk. Okay, yeah, thank you, bye-bye.
Whew, okay, I'm gonna say something that feels a little cruel. You know, it feels a little inhumane to say this to a fellow human, but I've got to speak my truth. I'm getting a little bit of like an Onision vibe from this guy. Is that even legal to say? That feels like hate speech, but I mean, am I wrong? Don't worry, it's only gonna get worse.
I saw the receptionist at the gym, and I apologized. So here's the story. I walked in there, and I said, hey, I'm glad to see you. I walked in. The first thing I saw was her. And then I said, I'm sorry about yesterday. And she said, we're closed. And I was like, yeah, I thought you were joking.
This shit is still so funny to me. If one of my friends came to me and was like, hey, I think this girl might be into me. What do you think? And then told me this, I'd probably turn him into the police. The idea of a person walking into a place of business, being told we're closed, and leaving that interaction thinking, my God, she wants me so bad, is incomprehensible.
And I walked around and I saw no one was there. So that's my bad. I'm sorry about that. And then she said, yeah, it's okay. And I was like, all right, bye. Like, we're good. And like, you know, I'm just kind of thinking about it right now. I'm like, she made the joke. I didn't get it then, but she like referenced it back. Low key could be like, we could be fine. I don't know. I'll see her on the weekend. Maybe it's all good. Maybe we keep this flirt thing going, you know what I'm saying?
All right, so that little bit right there, and then everything moving forward, is where I think we start to get a little bit questionable. Surely there is no way a human being could come out of all this and be like, actually, you know what? There's something here. Let's keep this flirt thing going. Like, look, believe it or not, I have spoken to a woman before. I know, hard one to believe, but I do know that there are a lot of dudes out there who would pull some shit like this and who do think this way, but I think people who are like that aren't aware enough to even feel the need to go back and, quote, apologize. I don't know. We need more evidence.
Okay, so the cute girl at the gym I haven't seen her in 2 weeks since the apology. And I was tweaking. I'm not, I was like, she fucking quit. And I fucked up. And, you know, so I've been tweaking about it today. She didn't come in, and I did some sleuthing. I got her name. I had her name, and I got some other information, and I found her Instagram.
Okay, so here's where I believe that we may have slipped into a character. It just begins to be a little bit too on the nose, and I feel like what likely happened here is this guy got a lot of views on that original video, which I think is something that actually happened to him because it wasn't anything like crazy. He still seemed like a somewhat normal guy in that video, and then with every video after that one, it just gets more and more, hey, look at me, I'm a crazy guy. Again, dudes like this exist, but do they exist in this like TikTok vlog format? I don't know.
And it does look like she quit. I don't know. She posted recently, and I'm gonna hit her up. I think I think it would be really good.
All right, boys and girls, this is where he loses me, and this is why I want a second opinion. This is why I think this is fake. It looks like she quit. What do you mean? What on a person's Instagram, especially only like a week or two after it happened apparently, would clue you in on the fact that they quit their job as a front desk assistant at a gym? Like, come on. You know what I mean? This seems like him realizing he can sort of milk this and being like, okay, how can I make this even crazier? Oh, I got it. She quit her job because of me. I don't know if I'm buying it, guys.
Okay, I have to give you a recap. I have, over the last 3 days, been DMing her. I've sent her 3 DMs, and I've liked 5 of her posts, and I followed her, and she hasn't followed me back. And that's one thing. That's one terrible thing. The next thing is that last night, I was going to the gym, and I seen her through the window, spotted her with my peepers, and a Punnett square of decisions comes to me. Either she doesn't know, or she knows that I've been DMing her, and I go to the gym, or I don't go to the gym, right? The decision I made is I go to the gym because I pay money to go to the gym. And that she doesn't know that I'm DMing her.
All right, he's roped me back in. Fuck, I don't know anymore. I genuinely cannot tell at this point if this guy is being for real. If he isn't, fantastic character you've drawn up here. Very convincing. I still think it's lame, and we'll talk about that in a minute. If this isn't a character, my brother in Christ, for the love of God, leave this poor girl alone. Look, not realizing somebody's just being nice to you because they have to be, and realizing it later and backing off, not that big of a deal. Relentlessly pursuing a person who is obviously ignoring you and not being receptive to your advances, yeah, now you're just a creepy guy that nobody likes.
Because I still hope. There's a lot of hope in my heart. Fault a guy for hope. Anyway, I walk in, and I'm hitting it. And I go, hey, I haven't seen you in forever. I thought you quit. And she's like, no, I didn't quit. I've been busy with school the last couple weeks. I've been off. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Hadn't seen her in 2 weeks. I was right. It was abrupt. Okay, so I'm not, okay. And so I say, hey, I've been DMing you. Have you been seeing that?
Dude, I don't know what you do for your day job, but if it's not selling a course on how to pick up the ladies, I think you found your calling. This man has generational game. If this shit is real, can you imagine this from this girl's perspective? First of all, this guy basically breaks into her place of employment and refuses to leave, shows back up and is like, you know what? My bad. Probably hits her with the signature move of his little hand rub. At this point, she probably starts to think it's over, and then she gets bombarded by Instagram notifications, which she ignores, and then he shows back up and is like, hey, those DMs that I know you saw, you're not ignoring them, right? She's probably filing a restraining order as we speak.
And she goes, at the time, I think her eyes are lighting up. And she says, oh, I don't go on Instagram very much. I'll get back to you tomorrow. And then she shuffles off, and I grab my stuff. Today's the next day, and she has not DM'd me. And I am retrospectively thinking she knew, and she was avoiding it, and oh my God. Oh, yeah. Anyway, this is horrible. I might need to go to a new gym or some shit. I don't know. Like one more time. I have one more social interaction with her before I'm gonna. This is like insane. Back-to-back fumbles.
Zachary, my brother, you cannot fumble the ball if you're on the bench. You've never even been a ball carrier in this situation. What do you mean back-to-back fumbles? She didn't even let you onto the field. What about any of this has hinted to you that you have another shot? That you somehow have one social interaction left? You're tapped out, pal.
The gym girl responded. Not only that, but she had been texting very much. She's into anime. And I have a date tomorrow with the gym girl. I was going to recount it. Here's the DMs. I don't know. What do you think of that? She is very difficult to text.
If this is a bit, this is the most committed bit I have ever seen, all in the name of making yourself look kind of like a loser. Normally I would, but since we have 2 more TikToks to go through, I won't be reading the text out loud, but I would highly recommend that you go through and take a look for yourself. My man, that is not a woman who's difficult to text. That is a woman who is only texting you because you know where she works. You've proven yourself to be very pushy and kind of creepy, and now you have her full legal and her social medias. If this is real, there is a very good chance that the only reason she's texting you is because she feels like she has to. Again though, a big part of me is thinking that this is just one giant bit. Why you would ever want to make yourself come off this way on the internet, I have no fucking clue. But I'll read a couple of these texts because they're just a little bit too on the nose. It just seems a little too perfectly bad. Shit like saying he's making an anime with AI and then hitting her with the most females I've met don't watch anime, let alone like it. Saying he had a pretty lonely workout with a sad face. And then the worst one of them all, I think, after she said she hung out with some friends, saying, what did you get up to with your friends? Anyone I should be worried about? Saying that to a person, period, is wacky work. To a person you've exchanged like 8 texts with? Yeah, that is psychotic behavior if this is not a joke.
Not a whole lot in the response department. Whole lot of not responding. So I'm excited. I'm very scared. I haven't been on a date in a very long time. Tuesday night date, you know? Why would I ask a date on Tuesday night? But she said yes. So who says yes? This has been the most confusing pursuit in my life.
I just cannot convince myself that these are the thoughts of a real human. I feel like his level of social awareness is just all over the place, and it just doesn't really make sense. I don't think a person who would willingly like walk up to another person and be like, hey, so I DM'd you a bunch of times, but you won't respond, so can you do that? And then painfully try and keep a text conversation going as the other person obviously has zero interest in you whatsoever, would make the first video to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a person who's okay doing these things would not even clock what happened in the first video as something awkward.
Without a doubt. But I will, I'm gonna go on this date, and I'm gonna, I don't know, talk to her about anime. Oh, I'm so bad at talking to women. I'm so bad at it. What is the problem?
I genuinely keep going back and forth between wanting this to be a joke and wanting this to be real. Like I said earlier, if this is just a bit, I cannot understand for the life of me why you would ever, and I mean ever, want people to think that you are this guy. Because everybody knows a guy like this, and nobody likes him. Like, what could this possibly be worth? A few 100,000 views on TikTok that will lead to nothing because nobody's gonna like follow a guy who acts like this? Like, I don't really understand the angle if there is one, which leads me to think that this is genuine, and that's even worse.
So I had the date with the gym girl. I pick her up because she doesn't seem to have a car. I don't love picking up people for the first date. It's just horrible to me because it's like you're in my bedroom and I have to act like I'm not queuing up music to perfectly match the vibe that I think we will curate. And she didn't mention the music, so I think I did okay enough. I feel like if she liked it though, that would have been better.
Okay, so I'm gonna assume that you meant car when you said bedroom. Here's an idea, bud. Maybe just play the music you like. Not everything has to be a game. I know, crazy concept, but maybe just be yourself on dates if this is a real date, if this is a real thing that happened, and you'll find somebody who likes you instead of just trying to play pretend. I know, bold idea. Might be the first one to ever say it.
The car ride was like kind of awkward. I'd say it was okay. It was fine. And honestly, by the time we were at the date, we were just talking like a mile a minute. Or the waiter came up to us and said, are you guys on a first date?
No, he didn't. That did not happen. The only people who ask that question are waiters in movies and stand-up comedians who rely on crowd work. I don't believe that actually happened to you, Zach. Calling your bluff.
But I'm just like, yeah, we are on a first date. And I think she thinks it's kind of funny, but I did not like that. So yeah, the date goes well. I ask her what she likes to do for fun, and she says, I play Mario Kart all the time. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's cool. She's like, do you want to play Mario Kart? You want to come back to my place? And I'm like, I don't do my mouth open like that. I just say, yeah, okay. I'm trying to be nonchalant, anyway, I say yes. And yeah, we go back to her place to play Mario. I'm gonna do a part 2 because this is getting long.
My God, the fact that this guy got an invite back to a woman's apartment shows that there's really hope for everybody. To get a quick recap here. So, first of all, this guy basically broke into this woman's place of work as a joke. According to one of his replies to a comment, he asked this woman's co-worker what her name is so he could find her socials, DM'd her multiple times with no response, and decided to follow that up by showing back up to her place of work and being like, hey, why aren't you responding to me? Managed to ignore every single sign that was sent his way, and the cherry on top, he has been documenting all of this on TikTok down to publicizing their texts. I guess there really is somebody for everyone.
Okay, so we're in her apartment, the gym girl's apartment, and I am right outside her door. I'm struck by the smell and pungentness of weed. She opens her door, culprits right there on her windowsill. It's not that I've got a problem with that or anything, but quite strong. Her bed is like jammed in the corner. She's got clothes screwed about. She's got half full water glasses everywhere.
Real big fan of how so far this has basically been 10 minutes of this guy being like, hey, let me tell you about all the creepy shit I've done the last couple of weeks. And out of nowhere, he gets the gall to just become Mr. Judgy McJudgerson. Her apartment stunk. Her bed looks stupid. She drank too much water. It's like, my God, man, the next thing I know, you're going to be complaining about how good she is at Mario Kart.
We start playing Mario Kart, and we're sitting about this far. Dude, she is so good at it, and I think she invited me over just to decimate me and rail me in Mario Kart. So I'm just getting destroyed. It's going so far that that's why I'm thinking that is because I kept asking how to do things. I'm in 12th place and she's in 1st place lapping me. And I'm like, how do I drift? How are you doing that? How are you doing this? Because it's split screen. And she won't tell me. She's like, figure it out. Click the buttons.
We have gotten to the point where this is such a fucking specific story that I just don't think anybody would make this up. Like, if you were gonna make this big, long, elaborate story about how you're terrible with women, but you still managed to get invited back to a woman's apartment, are you really gonna make the end of the story, yeah, I just got fucking dog walked in Mario Kart for 4 hours? I mean, I guess it's funny, so maybe, but like, I think this actually happened.
So my confidence gets so low, I refuse to initiate physical contact in any regard. And eventually she takes a fat dab and gets hungry, and I Uber Eats some food for her from Taco Bell. And she goes and gets a glass of water, puts another half glass full water on the floor after she drinks half of it, and she just dominates me for like 3 hours straight. I'm so sick of it. I'm so tired. By the end of the night, we're sitting about that close, but I'm so done playing Mario Kart.
All right, so let me get this straight. In your own words, you've been pursuing this girl for weeks. You somehow finally get her attention. You basically force her to give it to you, and then you manage to get her to go on a date. And by the end of it, she invites you back to her apartment to do something that she enjoys doing. And you're complaining? My brother in Christ, the puzzle is coming together. I am seeing why you are bad with women. This is exactly what you wanted. But because you're bad at a video game, you're getting your confidence fucked up and you're getting upset? Honestly, I guess that tracks.
And I am so defeated, I just can't make the move. You know what I mean? Like in my head, I'm like, I had to win in order to be able to cuddle or something. So around 1 or 2 or something, I gotta go to bed. I gotta go. And we do an awkward hug goodbye, and we open the door and the Uber Eats is there. We completely forgot that we ordered it. So I guess I got her lunch for tomorrow. But yeah, that's how the date went. I'm hoping for another one, but I'm wondering if she just invited me over to if this is her thing, to bring guys over and beat them at Mario Kart.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it to the end, and honestly, I don't know where I stand. Zach, you ask, is this just her thing? Zachary, just for future reference, if you're on a date with anybody and they go out of their way to invite you back to their place, you're probably in a pretty good spot. Okay, if that's actually what happened here, and I might just be completely overanalyzing this guy's fantasy, this still might not be real, but if this actually happened, as you said it did, and you didn't do the thing that you've explained yourself doing in the past, where you kind of push and push and push until you get the answer you want. If a person actually goes out of their way to invite you back to their apartment, unprompted, you're fine. No, she probably did not just want to beat you in Mario Kart over and over again, but as you said, you just sat there and took it. So, I mean, really, what else were you expecting? You admit that the extent of what you did the entire time that you were at her house was move 2 inches closer and then kick yourself out at 2 in the morning. I mean, yeah, man, that's some solid fucking game. About as solid as your Mario Kart Kart chops. Well, guys, what are your thoughts? I still don't know. Really, I don't know. I don't know if this is real or not. I brought this to you guys for a real reason. I don't fucking know. This feels like a person who cannot be real, right? I don't know. There are some real, like, unaware people, some real tone-deaf people, some people who don't know how their actions come off. But this, to the making an anime with AI, to saying, oh, girls don't tend to like anime, all this shit with, like, basically stalking this girl, it's just too on the nose. But really, like I said earlier, why would this be fake? Like, it's almost equally as sad to be a person so desperate for attention that you are willing to try and trick the internet into thinking that you actually do this shit for real. Like, if you need attention on the internet that badly, that you are willing to trick every single person that sees any TikTok they come across of you, that you are just like a bad guy who like halfway stalks women and is on his creep shit 24/7, that's still pretty fucking bad. There's really no good outcome here for this guy. Bad all around. Don't be like this guy. See ya.